Good morning and welcome back to Cooking with Daniella. Today we have a special guest, Chef Jamie, to help us with her pizza expertise. We have some great things planned for today's recipe, and we're excited to get started. The ingredients will appear on the screen as we go, and let's get started.
Before we get started, it is important to know the details of the history of pizza.
Today we're going to be cooking vegan pizza. The word pizza originated from the Latin word pinza, meaning flatbread. Pizza was first created by the baker Raffaele Esposito in Naples, Italy. He created a pizza topped with tomatoes, mozzarella, and basil, ingredients of the colors of the Italian flag known as pizza margherita. On June 11, 1889, the first pizza was made for the Italian king Umberto and Queen Margherita. So what exactly is vegan food? In 1944, Donald Watson created the term vegan during the time he co-founded the Vegan Society in England. At first, the term was created to make a distinction between non-dairy and dairy vegetarians. However, in 1951, this vegan society followed the doctrine that man should live without exploiting animals. Nowadays, veganism is almost considered a lifestyle developed around the idea of avoiding any kind of animal product to decrease exploitation and unnecessary animal cruelty. So foods that are considered vegan are ones that are plant-based and do not contain any sort of animals or animal products. Pizza is comprised mainly of two ingredients, tomatoes and flour. The tomato was first cultivated by the Aztecs as early as 700 AD and was called the tomato. It was not until the 16th century that Europeans were introduced to tomatoes as explorers set sail to discover new lands. Around 1880, with the invention of pizza in Naples, the tomato grew widespread in popularity in Europe as tomatoes are required to make pizza. We believe that flour was first used around 10,000 years ago, when people began to till soil and learned how to breed new grasses from different seeds. However, it took another 4,000 years before we discovered that these grains could be crushed. It was the advanced Egyptian civilization that, around 3000 BC, introduced something new that brought a decisive process to bread baking, which was called yeast. It required the warmth of the sun to start a fermentation process, and after baking yielded a soft, pleasant-tasting loaf of bread. And that is the history of our dish.
First, we're going to start off by making the dough. Start by preheating the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit.
Grab a large bowl and combine 2.5 cups of flour with an envelope of yeast and 3/4 tablespoon of salt. Add 1 cup of warm water and 2 tablespoons of olive oil.
We're going to knead this for about 5 minutes, then place the dough in a warm place for about 10 minutes. As we wait, we're going to learn a little bit more about the chemical structures of the ingredients we're working with.
While making the dough, we used flour, olive oil, and yeast. Flour is composed of wheat, which primarily contains gluten. Gluten is composed of glutenin and gliadin, which are both proteins. Gliadin has a molecular formula of C29H41N709 and a molar mass of 631.687 grams per mole. It can accept 10 hydrogen bonds and donate 7. Gliadin is also normally neutral and soluble. In our recipe, we also used olive oil, which is a liquid fat that contains oleic acid, linoleic acid, and palmitic acid. Oleic acid has a molecular formula of C18H34O2. Linoleic acid has a molecular formula of C18H32O2, and palmitic acid has a molecular formula of C16H32O2. Oleic acid comprises most of olive oil, and it is nonpolar and insoluble in water. It has a density of 0.895 grams per milliliter. It also has a melting point of 13 degrees Celsius and a boiling point of 360 degrees Celsius. At 363 degrees Celsius, it becomes flammable, which is also the heat of combustion. Oleic acid is generally stable and oxidizes when exposed to air.
Alright, now we're going to make our vegan tomato sauce.
First, we're going to use a blender to combine 800 milliliters of tomatoes with
About 12 leaves of basil,
2 cloves of fresh garlic,
1 tablespoon of onion powder,
1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano,
1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme.
and 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt.
We're going to completely blend these ingredients on low until the basil leaves become small. Then we'll transfer the mixture to a pot and warm to a bubble.
Once it boils, we're going to take it out and wait for it to cool. We are now going to roll out our dough into a pizza pan.
After we roll out the dough, we're going to spread the pizza sauce around the pizza and leave a small border around the pizza.
Add the tomato sauce and pizza toppings of your choice, and you could also add some vegan cheese, but this is just optional. Then we're going to move the pizza to the oven and bake approximately 20 minutes or until it turns to a golden brown color. So Jamie, I was wondering, is this dish healthy?
Yes, it is. Every ingredient we use is natural and healthy for the body. One serving is 1 piece of pizza and is about 135 calories. They are 4.5 grams of sugar and 1 grams of saturated fat. It also contains 245 milligrams of sodium and 21 grams of carbs as well as 3 grams of protein.
So if I eat 1 to 2 slices of pizza daily, would that consider healthy or unhealthy?
Yeah, you can eat 1 to 2 slices of this pizza daily, but any more than that would be considered unhealthy.
It's nice. So we're just gonna put it in the oven.
As our dish cooks, we can note a physical change. Daniella and Jamie inserted a soft and pale dough into the oven, and a darker pigment and harder texture was achieved through baking. The cheese melted and the dough became cooked.
Wow.
As we take everything out of the oven, our pizza is obviously a brownish color and it has achieved a hard but tender texture. The toppings have melded together and it smells like tomato sauce. Thanks for watching!